Before we talk about the title fight coming up, 21st of July in London, I want to go back a little bit because as I mentioned to you, but before we actually set this up, it's been a really long time since I last spoke to you. Um,
Yeah,
because it was before the first Matthias Frederick fight. And if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, I could be wrong. I was doing written articles for Cage Warriors at the time, and I think it might have been the first ever video interview that I did. So that's how long ago it feels for me. I'm sure that
yeah.
that Frederick fight feels a long time ago for you as well. A lot's changed since then.
A lot's changed.
Um,
Yeah, a lot's changed. Jesus, good times, good times.
But instead of going that far back, let's, of course, for this fight, go back to March 2020, where you fought Mick
Yeah,
Stanton for the first time.
yeah,
Coming off of the two fights with Matthias Frederick, like, what do you
yeah.
remember about going into that fight?
Which one? The match, the seventh
The
one,
Stanton one.
the first time. Yeah. So, obviously, me and the Fice fought twice in 2019. Um, Night of Champions, and then we fought Cage Warriors 1-1-1-11, I think, November. And obviously, I lost my belt that night, and it was the last show I think Cage Warriors done that year. And I remember saying to Chris, my coach, straight away, I was like, "Put me on the first show next year. I need to be on the first show next year." Um, so he got me back into the show in Manchester. We wanted to sort of take away the pressure of being there goes the door. Take away the pressure of being fighting in London. One sec, Ollie. The pressure of London and get somewhere else. So we had that fight in Manchester. One sec, Carl. Let me just pass this off.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Oh, yeah, just got the keys. No problems. And yeah, so we went to Manchester, had the fight, and yeah, I needed to get back in there as soon as I could because you know what it's like, man. Anyway, especially when you lose, you feel like you owe something to yourself and your team. But I knew that I owed something to myself. And you know, previously things that you know, a lot of things haven't been spoken about previously, you know, and um, I was severely fucking injured. Do you know what I mean? Like on that March 7th fight, I was severely fucking injured, and we never spoke about this shit. And the reason we don't speak about it is, Carl, because if you're injured and you're not ready to fight, you just don't fight. Do you know what I mean? Don't
Mhm.
be using that as an excuse. But you know, you're seeing, well, I'm seeing, he hasn't changed in the 3 4 years, whatever. Yeah, maybe not, but I'm definitely different now because guess what? I ain't injured. I'm not injured. And like when I was injured, I was like, if you go back to um June 29th or yeah, June 29th, whenever I fought in the fight the first time, when I got that spike on the head, I basically dislocated my fucking collarbone. No one knew this. No one knew this shit at the time. I dislocated my collarbone. My collarbone was out in that last round. Um, I had severe sciatic pain. I've got fucking my back was in a shit state. And if you go to the first round of the fight with Mick, I have a Darce choke on him. I have a Darce choke within about 90 seconds. And you can hear Chris telling me to sprawl. I can hear Chris. He's screaming to sprawl. And I look over and you can see me looking there in the camera. It probably just looks like I'm looking at the camera, but I'm looking to him and I'm looking and I'm sort of saying no because I knew if I sprawled, my back was gone. That was it. Um, I'd have fucked myself. I knew that, you know. So I had just played that fight pretty much safe. And if you watch that fight back, it looks very safe, controlled, you know. And in all honesty, should I have been in there? No. And that's something that me and my head coach Chris, we've sort of like he's sort of had words with me recently because he's like, you need to start fucking being honest with me and telling me when you're not well, you know. And we've got over that. Obviously, like I said, I've been sort of like injury free now the best part of a year, and you know the time I sort of got myself back to full fitness was about um May last year, and I got knocked out by Leon in the first round, you know, and that was the first time I got myself back to feeling like I should have, feeling very very confident in my abilities again, the whole body moving well, strong. Had a great camp, and obviously because I hadn't fought them for nearly, well, about 14 months, I hadn't fought previously for, You don't get a rerun when it comes to fighting. Do you know what I mean? There's no dress rehearsal. I'm walking out, everything feels great. I'm in the cage, feeling great. Bang, wake up, it's over.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that for me then was like, fuck. There's no, there's no second run at this. So then, with the Paddy fight in November, I had to just make sure I was fully switched on because Paddy was a dangerous guy. Do you know what I mean? I had to make sure I was switched on early against him, and got that win, and that was massive for the confidence, if anything. Do you know what I mean? Like he hit me with a big flying knee, really big flying knee, and he hit me with a really big elbow as well. And I was there still, so it gave me that confidence that that shot with Leon. Yeah, it was a bit of a fluky shot, of course it was. He winged it in my head, it fucking landed, great shot. Out I went. Um, but that ain't happening. Like, I'm fucking. That ain't happening. Do you know what I'm saying? This is going one way, like one fucking direction. I guarantee that. That's it. One way traffic. That's it.
It was only when I looked back through your record, like I was saying this the other day in a different interview, that because regardless of promotion, right, Cage Warriors events tend to be spaced out a bit more, but there's fights on every week. So you can kind of lose track of like how long a certain fighter has been out or something like that, just because
Yeah,
it just never stops, right? So it was only after looking at your record the other day where I was like, the Stanton fight was really soon after those Frederick fights, and like obviously we didn't know about the injuries and stuff, but like even without knowing the details, they were grueling fights to watch.
oh,
Like
thank you.
like it felt like you had been through a battle just sitting and
Yeah,
watching it. Like I remember being
yeah,
there for the one at Night of Champions, and like the whole crowd afterwards was like, I think we need to sit down. Like I need a bit of a break. So
that's nice. That's
going
nice.
straight into the Stanton one. Like I watched the fight back the other day, and without knowing about the injuries and stuff, I just thought, oh, it's just a really controlled performance to just get back in the win column, get back in there, and just reset nice and
Yeah,
quickly. But then hearing you talk about the injuries and how soon the fight was, it's like
yeah,
I find it quite difficult to watch that fight and gauge too much about where you were actually at, knowing all of
yeah,
those details, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, Carl, I couldn't train for the fight, so Leon Hill, he just joined the team before, and you might know Leon.
Mm-hmm.
He joined early 2020, maybe even late 2019, and he's fucking flying at the moment. The kid's doing great. And he was the guy that I only managed to get in the last 3 weeks. Chris allowed me to start putting some sparring together. He's like, we need to put some rounds in. So I used Leon for three threes once a week. I was in Ireland literally just doing rehab. I was making sure that I could keep myself injury free and just get to the fight. But I had to still put a bit of work in with Leon. And like that fella will tell you now the difference. Do you know what I mean? He'll tell you the difference in between what it was like 3 years ago to what it's fucking like now. So um, again, like we don't speak about them things. The only reason I'm bringing that to light is just because I'm getting fed up of hearing like, oh, James hasn't changed. He'll do this and he can't do this. Well, what do you think you're going to do to me anyway? Like nothing. Like last time, you couldn't even fucking drag around a fucking injured me. Do you know what I mean? Like, so what's going to happen this time? Nothing. Nothing different. Same result. Rinse and repeat. Same result. So yeah, those fights with Matthias, they were fucking grueling. And do you know what? I really like Matthias. We talk a little bit now. We talk a bit online. I see him at some fight shows. He's a good guy. Do you know what I mean? I like him, and I like the fact that I had him quite early in my career as well because that they're fights that really fucking make or break you. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They really do. And I know that I'm sort of battle tested. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a solid opponent. He's very game. He's very good. He's a high level fighter, and we shared the ring for 9 rounds with each other. So yeah, that fills me with confidence as well. Do you know what I mean? Like my resume, the guys that I have fought, I've beat high level guys. So that's where the confidence comes from, and also having fights and big fights against former world champions as well. That's where that confidence lies now. So I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't like a much higher ceiling of confidence than you've already beaten the guy, right? Like that plays a huge factor. Like when Stanton fought Will Curry for the vacant title, what did you think about
Mm.
the? I assume you've watched the fight.
Uh, Parts of it, yeah, parts of it I have, yeah. Um, it was a good fight, and I have watched parts of it, and I think both guys are, both guys are they're both athletes. You can't. I'm not going to sit there and knock either of them. They both went out and put it on the line. And Will come up short that time. And again, he's very young in his career, and I'm sure he'll go on to do whatever he wants to do still. And to be honest with you, man, do you know what, Carlo? I we're in this sport where we seem to want to fucking want to hate and talk shit about people. I respect the fucking Mick's done that in his career now. I'm like, fucking, you probably deserve that, mate, because you fucking, you you put yourself through the ringer, like it's a fair fuck to you. So like, I have nothing but respect for the guys that do go and do that, but I just see this going one way, 3 weeks time on Friday, it will go one way. And I know that, and beating him previously, yeah, it's a great confidence boost. Of course it is. It's lovely to sit there and say that you've beaten the guy before, but I'm not really thinking about that. I'm just thinking about my circumstance from this time, from last time to this time, And I'm always going one fight at a time. What I'm looking at from the previous camp, how have I bettered myself? Has my S&C improved? Yes, it's improved. Is my sparring improving? I know it's improving because the guys that I'm training with now, like in my last fight, when I won that last world title, the mat I was training on, yes, I had Chris Fields, I had Cottle Pendrick, but Cottle wasn't really fucking sparring then. Cottle was in and out. He was retired fighting. He was done. He would just
Mm.
come in and help out a few times. But the mat I've got at the moment, like I'm training with a load of guys that are all signed to Cage Warriors, are all looking to be world champions. I've got the Shelley brothers there, I've got Leon Hill, I've got Omran. Um, That's four great fighters right there that I'm training every day with guys that are not looking at me like this guy's leading the pack. We're all trying to lead the pack. We're all trying to
Yeah.
chase greatness, and that's a special thing you've got there on the mat because no one's trying to be the king. No one is. We're all just pushing each other, and then you've got Chris who's just sitting at that head of the table, just sort of guiding us now. And that's a beautiful thing. Do you know what I mean? It is a beautiful thing. I think he can see that as well. Like the level at the moment is ridiculous, and that's what I'm just judging everything off of. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm judging my 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 performance July 21st is coming down to how well I'm training right now and who I'm training with and the guys I'm training with. They're all winning on Cage Warriors. They're all finishing on Cage Warriors. And me and the lads are doing well. We're doing it. Well, the rounds are going well. Do you know what I mean? So I have a lot of confidence in myself, not just in having the win. I've just got confidence in my team as well.
Mm. There's one final thing I wanted to touch on with you that isn't related to the fight. Because
Yeah.
from having a look through your social media, one of the things that always pops up is fight style promotions. So I just wanted to ask you about your involvement with that and how that's been.
Yeah. So literally that's just me and a friend of mine. He runs a boxing club, and what we're just trying to do there is we're just trying to make our hometown a bit more of a not a fight capital as such, but we're just trying to bring a few more fights here. So there's a few gyms that have opened up recently, and it's just trying to put a bit of a platform together. So he's got a boxing gym and he's got a ring, so we're going to run a boxing show, and then we're looking into doing a kickboxing event after, and we're doing it all for like charity. So we're not telling people what charity they got to fight for, and we're actually telling people they got to fight for a charity. Like one thing I've realized since 2020 is a lot of people have been shafted, and a lot of people are out of pocket, and a lot of people aren't doing very well. So we want to give people the opportunity to fight for a good cause and to fight if they want to fight, but also to raise money for a charity of their cause or a person of their who they want to raise money for. So yeah, I don't know where that goes. I don't know where that goes. I'm not trying to be the next Eddie Hearn. Do you know what I mean? But what we're both trying to do there is just trying to give a little bit back to our community still. We've got a lot of local guys that are wanting to box, and we've got a few like unlicensed boxers that are coming from away to box. A few guys from Colchester, Colchester, Clacton, the Essex area, and yeah, like the guys that are all fighting for charity are doing it for their own person or charity, and I think that's quite a nice touch. So it's like I said, it's nothing. It's just another finger in a pie for me, and it's something that I am passionate about, especially the helping of people. And I'm not a big fan of this 8 weeks of training either. So we made sure that we were doing like 12 weeks of training and full medicals as well, because obviously I know how dangerous the sport is. So you're getting 3 months of free training, and then you're getting all your medicals before and after. If you don't get your medicals, you can't fight. And we've also said if you don't show up to like 80% of your sessions, you don't fight, you know. So it's going pretty well so far. Obviously because I'm in fight camp, I'm not seeing the ins and out every week. But I'm getting good feedback. I think we're probably going to have about 10 to 12 bouts on that night, which is probably all I'd want to do, you know. Like I don't I don't know how many shows you go to, Kyle, but I don't really like going to shows with too many fights on, you know. You sort of want to be at a show thinking, 10 fights tonight, that's sound, you know. There's nothing worse when you see 40 fights on a card, you're like, here we go. So yeah, we're just looking to put something on and just, you know, for myself, like I am from Colchester. I spend a lot of time in Dublin at the moment, but you know, this is just something we're just trying to put back into the town, you know, and hopefully we can get somewhere with it, you know.
Yeah, totally. Like speaking from my own experience, the thing that stood out to me, I'm from Gloucester, and we have an attic nightclub as well, which I didn't realize there was multiple of. So when I saw that, I
There's
was
loads of
really
them.
confused. But like, it makes perfect sense to me because if there was something like that where I'm from, it would be like, oh, someone's like actually making an effort to put on fight shows. Like we do get a few because there's a few
Yeah,
gyms and stuff like that, but like it that does feel like I know that you said it's like just having your hand in doing something else at the same time, but you're also like helping to promote fight sports in the
yeah,
local area, which like
yeah,
is huge for places like
yeah,
Colchester where it's not
absolutely.
it's not like on the back pages, like as to
No,
say,
it's not. It's not. It's not on the back page at all. And I'm gonna do something about that as well because you know, I'm getting a little bit more friendlier with my local paper and the local enforcement around the town. And I've been telling them about that. You know, I'm like, why? There's me and Lewis Richardson. I'm not sure if you know of Lewis. He's a Team GB boxer. He's gone pro this year. He's phenomenal. And in you know, not me and him, not trying to sound like we're dickheads, but you know, we believe that we're fighting the highest level of sport in the town, and we don't get a mention. It's all about the
yeah.
football, and no one watches the football. So who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah,
But no, it's
I
all
get
good.
you.
It's all good.
Thank you so much for your time, mate, and all the best
No, thank
for
you, Carl.
London. And we'll
No,
catch up
thank
with
you,
you
man.
after.
Definitely, mate. Take care. Thanks again, mate. All right. All the best.
No worries, you too,
Cheers,
mate.
man.
Cheers.
Bye.